All right, let's talk about the integumentary system. So this model represents a chunk of integumentary system, but that is found in 3 different areas of the body. This area here is representing an area that is found on the hairy scalp, so the top of your head. This area here is representing an area that is found in the armpit or in the pubic region. And this area here is representing an area of the body that is found in the palm of your feet, or the palm of your hands, or the sole of your feet. Okay, so keep that in mind as I go over all the structures. Let's go over this section first. Let's notice this area here that is much thicker here than in the other regions. Nevertheless, that is still the epidermis. So from this part over here to this tiny little single layer of cells that are found here in the deepest layer of the epidermis, this right here, that is the epidermis. So the top layer here is actually made up of a strata called stratum corneum. And the deepest layer that we're going to be concerned with and we're going to study is going to be stratum basale. The difference between these 2 layers is that the very top layer, the stratum corneum, is actually composed, it has inside of the cells keratin molecules that make this tissue waterproof, as opposed to, and these are dead cells. When you look at, compared to the stratum basale cells, these cells are highly mitotic, and this is where we actually have cells known as melanocytes that produce melanin. This is what gives us a beautiful color when we tan, okay? All right, so those are the only strata that I want you to concern yourselves with. Now notice that strata is also present in other parts of the body here. Stratum basale, right, the tiny little dark line that you see here, those are single layer cells all throughout the area. On the top we have stratum corneum, and the same here as well. You can distinctly see the stratum corneum and you can see stratum basale. All right, so we have the epidermis here, we have the dermis here, and we have the hypodermis, which is found subcutaneously. So in this model we also notice that in the dermis is actually divided into other regions, into 2 layers here. So we have the papillary layer of the dermis, which is this, and then we have the reticular layer. Within the papillary layer of the dermis, we have nerve endings, and we also have capillary loops that carry blood and that are found within these little areas here. All right, so the important thing here is to remember that it is the capillary loops within the papillary dermal papillae that are actually the ones that are feeding nutrients to the stratum basale. All right, so this is why this area has a lot of nutrients, and that's great. That's an advantage because this particular single layer of cells is highly mitotic. Now let's look at the structures that are found within this particular section of skin. So here we have eccrine sweat glands found here, here, and also here and here. So in all over the body pretty much. So these glands actually are sweat glands that respond to changes in temperature. So when it's too hot or you're working out very strenuously, you're going to be sweating from these glands. All right. So they respond to changes in temperature. As opposed to this sweat gland, this is known as an apocrine sweat gland. This sweat gland responds to moments of stress. So you're going to that interview and you really want to get that job and you get all stressed out and your armpits begin to sweat. Well, that's coming from this wonderful sweat gland. This sweat gland, this apocrine sweat gland, also becomes activated upon becoming sexually aroused. Okay, so that's why you would sweat in those areas of the body as well. Now, let's look at this other structure here. This is representing lamellar corpuscle as described in your textbook. And the cool thing about this particular structure is that it allows us to sense pressure. And it's possible because it has this wonderful coiled layers of collagen surrounding this nerve ending. This is a nerve ending actually. So surrounding it, it makes it look sort of like a lollipop. But if you would, remember I had you guys apply pressure onto your finger with your pants to get that sensation of pressure. So this little guy here is actually picking up that sensation. So this nerve ending here in the dermal papillae is sensing pain and changes in temperature, whereas the lamellar corpuscle is actually sensing changes on pressure. All right. Another structure that we should concern ourselves with are sebaceous glands. And yeah, sebaceous glands, they get really activated during puberty. Too bad. And we get, sometimes we get those wonderful pimples as well. So this is an important sweat gland to remember. A sebaceous gland to remember. Sorry about that. Here we have a hair. We have the root and the bulb here embedded within our skin. And I believe this is referred to as the shaft. Not much exciting going on here with the hair, aside from the fact that we have this erector pili muscle that when it contracts, it will cause this hair to actually stand up on its end, so which is kind of cool. All right. Now let's think about the connective tissue types that are found in these areas, and let's think about the epithelial tissues that are found in this area of skin. So we know that this area here, the very top of all of your skin, is going to be coming across a lot of our environments. You're going to be putting your clothes on. You're going to be taking a shower. You're going to be, maybe bumping onto a table and so forth. So, a lot of friction going on here. So we need to have an epithelium that can withstand that. So we have to think about what type of tissue subtype, epithelial tissue subtype, could possibly withstand a lot of friction. Well, multiple layers would help, right? So that would be stratified squamous epithelium. All right, so that's very important. So yes, we have stratified squamous epithelium here as well, but it's not as thick. That is only the difference between this area here and that area here. Now keep in mind where these areas are found in relation to one another. All right, now let's think about what connective tissue is found in this dermal layer of the integumentary system. Well, there are a lot of fibers here, fiber types. We have two of them that we talked about in class, and one of them will be your collagenous fibers, so collagen fibers, and elastic fibers. All right, so that means that we have areolar connective tissue found in this area. So all of this has areolar connective tissue. Now let's look at the more obvious one. So subcutaneously, we have the hypodermis, so below the dermis. So all of this is made up mostly of a specific tissue subtype, of a connective tissue subtype, and that would be adipose connective tissue. So I hope this helps you. I'm not trying to confuse you. Keep in mind the layers. Let me get a better shot here, right? So stratum corneum, stratum basale. Those are the only two that you're concerned with, okay? All right, you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you enjoy this video and that it helps you. Good luck on the test. Bye.